Stop for a moment and listen carefully. You know what it is to be unseen. You have carried thoughts no one asked to hear, convictions no one seemed to understand, and gifts that remained unnoticed while other people were celebrated. You have stood in rooms where your contribution was overlooked. You have watched people underestimate your depth, question your ability, and treat you like a background figure in a story you were helping to hold together. But hear me clearly. This message is not a promise that everyone who dismissed you will soon bow before your greatness. This is not a prediction that your name will become famous, while your doubters watch in regret. This is not flattery disguised as revelation. This is purification. Because what if the clearest sign that you are chosen is not that people finally recognize how extraordinary you are? What if the clearest sign is that you are becoming willing to serve people who cannot reward you, promote you, repay you, or applaud you? Do not misunderstand this. I am not diminishing your gift. I am not denying your calling. I am not asking you to become smaller so others can remain comfortable. I am removing the pride that would eventually make your gift unsafe. Fire does not destroy what is genuine. It burns away what cannot be trusted with influence. Two desires can hide beneath the same spiritual words. One says, "Make me useful in your hands." The other says, "Make me undeniable, so everyone who rejected me will know they were wrong." One seeks responsibility. The other seeks revenge, wearing the clothing of purpose. One asks to become a blessing. The other asks for blessing to become a public verdict of superiority. Now, examine your heart without defending it. Being chosen does not make you immune to correction. It does not entitle you to attention. It does not make every disagreement an attack or every closed door a conspiracy. Chosenness increases responsibility. It brings closer scrutiny, deeper sacrifice, greater accountability, and stronger dependence on God. The more you carry, the more carefully you must carry it. In this message, 4 counterfeits will be exposed: contempt for correction, obsession with enemies, entitlement to reward, and the habit of treating other people like background characters. Then 5 trustworthy marks will be placed before you: faithfulness, love, teachability, service, and stewardship. Stay honest, stay open, stay humble. What is real in you does not need protection from truth. This examination is not coming to cancel your calling. It is coming to keep your ego from corrupting it. And before that calling can be purified, you must understand the wound beneath the fantasy why being told that you are rare, hidden, and destined to shock everyone can feel so much like healing. You remember the rooms where you had something to say, but no one made space for your voice. You remember offering an idea that was ignored, only to hear someone else repeat it later and receive the credit. You remember feeling more deeply than the people around you seemed willing to feel, seeing possibilities they could not yet see, and carrying convictions you struggled to explain. After enough of those moments, invisibility stops feeling temporary. It begins to feel like a verdict. You start asking questions you never say aloud. Is something wrong with me? Am I too complicated? Did I imagine the gift I thought I carried? Why can no one see what feels so alive inside me? I have seen those questions. I have seen the quiet ache beneath them. I have seen you enter rooms already expecting to be dismissed. I have seen you shrink your contribution before anyone could reject it. And I have seen the other desire growing beside that pain, the desire for one undeniable moment when everything reverses. A moment when the people who overlooked you finally stare in disbelief and ask how they failed to recognize you. This is why the language of rarity can feel like medicine. When someone tells you that you are unlike everyone else, that opposition proves your power, or that a spectacular unveiling will shock your doubters, rejection suddenly acquires a flattering meaning. You were not ignored because people failed to understand you. You were ignored because you were too extraordinary to be recognized. You were not wounded because human relationships are complicated. You were wounded because others were threatened by what you carry. For a moment, that interpretation relieves the pain. But hear me clearly. Relief is not always healing. There is a fragile bargain hidden inside that promise. Your worth still depends on other people. Yesterday, you needed their approval. Today, you are waiting for their astonishment. Yesterday, you wanted them to welcome you. Today, you want them to regret losing you. The direction has changed, but they are still holding the mirror in which you measure yourself. Healthy affirmation says, My life has dignity. My gift can contribute something meaningful. I can grow without denying who I am. Exceptionalism says, my suffering proves I belong above ordinary people. One restores you to community. The other builds a throne from your wounds. Now examine what has been driving you. Are you developing your gift to serve the people within reach, or rehearsing the day former doubters will finally recognize your importance? Are you practicing, listening, learning, and helping or performing for an audience from your past? Your hidden season may indeed be forming patience, depth, discipline, and courage, but not every delay is a guarantee of fame. Not every closed door promises a larger stage. Not every painful chapter ends with public vindication. Sometimes the sacred outcome is quieter. You become wiser without becoming bitter, stronger without becoming hard, and useful without needing to be celebrated. You do not have to become more important than anyone else to prove that your life has always mattered. You do not need a crowd to correct the verdict of one room. You do not need your doubters to be shocked before your gift becomes real. Let that truth reach the wound beneath the ambition, because once the wound is named, another pattern must be confronted. The temptation to turn every painful experience into proof that enemies are surrounding you. Hear this clearly. Pain can refine you, but pain does not crown you. What happened to you matters. The betrayal was real. The relationship that fractured left a wound. The delay exhausted you. The private battle demanded strength from you that no one else could see. You learned to keep moving while confused, to protect hope while disappointed, and to recognize suffering in another person's eyes because you had carried it in your own heart. Those experiences can develop endurance. They can sharpen judgment. They can make you gentler with people whose struggles are hidden. But suffering does not automatically prove that you possess a higher spiritual rank. A wound may become wisdom, but it must never become a throne. Now listen without fear. Not every obstacle is a targeted attack against your destiny. Not every person who leaves is intimidated by your gift. Not every disagreement reveals a hidden enemy. Sometimes a door closes because two choices are incompatible. Sometimes progress slows because your capacity needs to grow. Sometimes a relationship changes because both people carry limitations. And sometimes the resistance you feel is correction, asking you to stop, listen, and change. This does not mean genuine mistreatment should be denied. If someone deceived you, name the deception. If someone repeatedly crossed a boundary, establish distance. If someone used your loyalty against you, stop making yourself available to the same pattern. Truth does not require naivete. But wisdom also refuses the opposite trap, turning every critic into a liar, every question into an insult, and every departure into proof that your light was too powerful for others to endure. That story may protect your pride for a moment, but it will eventually imprison your heart. Enemy obsession changes how you see everyone. Suspicion replaces curiosity. Isolation begins to feel like elevation. You stop asking, "What can I learn here?" and begin asking, "Why are they threatened by me?" Accountability starts to resemble betrayal because any voice that challenges you feels like a voice trying to silence your calling. Soon, you are surrounded not by enemies, but by interpretations that make reconciliation, growth, and honest self-examination almost impossible. Do not surrender your discernment. Purify it. A mature response to harm carries 4 movements. First, tell the truth about what happened without exaggerating what you cannot know. Second, establish boundaries appropriate to the pattern, not merely to the intensity of the moment. Third, examine your own part without taking responsibility for another person's choices. Fourth, refuse revenge without reopening yourself to repeated harm. You can forgive and remain wise. You can love and maintain distance. You can acknowledge wrongdoing without building your identity around being wronged. And here is the deeper transformation. Your scars were not healed merely so you could feel powerful in the presence of those who hurt you. They can become places from which you recognize fear, protect dignity, and offer patience. The strongest evidence that pain has become purpose is not that you feel dangerous to your enemies. It is that wounded people feel safer in your presence. Let the pain deepen you, but not darken you. Let it soften you, but not weaken your boundaries. Let it teach you, but not convince you that you are above correction. Let it strengthen your voice, but never authorize contempt. Pain may explain your guardedness, but it cannot govern your calling. And once pain is removed from the throne, you are ready to understand what calling consistently places upon a person, not greater exemption, but greater weight. Greater weight means this: the more you claim to carry, the more carefully your motives, conduct, and effect on others must be examined. A calling is not proved by how powerful it makes you feel. It is revealed by how responsibly you handle the lives your words and choices may touch. The fantasy of calling asks, how can I appear undeniable? The responsibility of calling asks, how can I become trustworthy? Fantasy wants secret status. Responsibility produces visible faithfulness. Fantasy resists questions. Responsibility welcomes correction. Fantasy wants influence before formation. Responsibility accepts that character must be strengthened before greater influence can be carried safely. Now hear me clearly. An unusual feeling is not automatically a gift. A private certainty is not automatically truth. Feeling different from the people around you does not place you above them. Sensitivity, intuition, creativity, insight, and conviction may all become meaningful instruments, but their purpose becomes credible through their fruit. Does what you carry bring clarity rather than confusion? Does it produce peace without denying difficult truth? Does it offer practical help instead of merely making you feel spiritually important? Does it leave people freer and stronger, or more dependent on your approval and interpretation? You may indeed carry something valuable and still be unready to carry it publicly. That is not rejection, that is stewardship. Potential does not remove the need for training. Passion does not replace discipline. Sincerity does not eliminate blind spots. You may need more time, more healing, more practice, and more moral formation. Not because your gift is false, but because other people could be harmed if your confidence grows faster than your character. Pressure can shape a vessel, but fire does not automatically make it pure. You must cooperate with the refining. You must choose honesty when exaggeration would gain attention. You must repent when pride distorts your judgment. You must practice restraint when urgency tempts you to speak beyond what you truly know. You must make wise decisions when emotion demands immediate action. Do not romanticize every silent season as evidence that a spectacular unveiling is days away. Silence can be a classroom. Patience can be protection. Waiting can teach you to distinguish what is deeply true from what merely feels intense. Some words must mature before they are spoken. Some ideas must be tested before they are taught. Some impressions must remain impressions until time, counsel, and observable reality bring clarity. This is not weakness. This is strength under governance. A genuine calling does not make you self-validating. It makes dependence more necessary. The more influence you receive, the more you need prayer that examines your motives, counsel that can challenge your conclusions, community that sees your blind spots, and humility that can say, I may be wrong. You do not outgrow accountability. You grow into a greater need for it. And responsibility does not begin when a large platform appears. It begins at home, where your closest relationships experience the person behind your declarations. It begins at work, where integrity is revealed in promises kept and credit shared. It begins in friendship, where listening matters more than appearing insightful. It begins in creative work, where inspiration must submit to practice and completion. It begins when someone shares their pain, and you resist the temptation to make their story evidence of your special perception. Calling is carried in ordinary moments long before it is recognized in public ones. So stop asking only what your gift will bring you. Ask what it requires from you. Does it require patience? Learn patience. Does it require skill? Accept training. Does it require healing? Seek help. Does it require restraint? Become quiet enough to hear what pride keeps interrupting. You are not being prepared for exemption. You are being prepared for responsibility. And now that calling has been defined by what it demands, rather than what it guarantees. 4 counterfeits can be exposed behaviors that often disguise themselves as confidence, discernment, and spiritual authority. Now hear me clearly. This examination is not condemnation. It is protection. A gift worth carrying is worth guarding. And ego rarely announces itself by name. It borrows spiritual language. It calls pride confidence, suspicion, discernment, entitlement, faith, and self-centeredness destiny. There are 4 counterfeits you must learn to recognize. The first counterfeit is contempt for correction. It begins quietly. A sincere question feels like disrespect. A different perspective feels like blindness. Accountability feels like an attempt to suppress what God placed inside you. You stop listening to what people are saying because you have already decided why they are saying it. They are jealous, threatened, unprepared, or incapable of understanding someone with your calling. But a trustworthy gift does not fear examination. What is true can survive questions. What is mature can receive correction without surrendering conviction. The test is simple. When people have demonstrated honesty and care raise a concern, do you examine its substance or immediately explain why they are too spiritually limited to understand you? Do not answer quickly. Let the question search you. The second counterfeit is obsession with enemies. A friendship becomes distant, and you assume your growth made the other person uncomfortable. A plan is delayed, and you interpret it as coordinated resistance. Someone criticizes your work, and you decide they are attacking your destiny. Even anxiety begins to feel like secret evidence that danger is near. Discernment is necessary, but discernment produces clarity. Paranoia produces a world in which every relationship feels spiritually dangerous. Discernment observes behavior, notices patterns, establishes proportionate boundaries, and remains calm enough to gather truth. Suspicion fills missing information with accusation. Ask yourself, is what I call discernment helping me respond wisely to evidence, or is it making me afraid of everyone who does not confirm my interpretation? The third counterfeit is entitlement to reward. You remember the years you stayed loyal, the work no one praised, the prayers no one heard, and the losses you endured without abandoning hope. Then a hidden expectation forms. After everything I have suffered, I must be owed a dramatic return. Fame, money, romance, vindication. A public reversal so precise that no one can deny my importance. Faith can expect goodness without dictating the form in which goodness must arrive. Suffering does not create a contract requiring applause. Loyalty does not purchase a platform. Hidden labor does not obligate God to make former doubters watch your elevation. Here is the test. Can you remain faithful if the assignment stays quiet, costly, and largely uncelebrated? Can you serve when there is no countdown to recognition, no promise of sudden wealth, and no guarantee that the people who misunderstood you will ever admit it? The fourth counterfeit is turning people into background characters. Spiritual exceptionalism divides the world into roles within your personal story. Some people become admirers sent to confirm you. Others become enemies assigned to oppose you. Some become helpers carrying pieces of your blessing. Others become obstacles, whose removal proves your advancement. Everyone is interpreted by what they mean for your journey. But they have journeys too. They have wounds you cannot see, gifts you do not carry, choices you cannot control, and purposes that do not revolve around you. Love refuses to reduce a human being to a sign, a lesson, an enemy, or an accessory to personal destiny. Ask yourself, am I still curious about what others need, fear, hope for, and carry? Or do I measure every person only by whether they advance, delay, admire, or challenge me? These 4 counterfeits share one center, the self. The words may be spiritual, but the story keeps returning to your status, your enemies, your reward, and your importance. Do not hide from what you recognize. Naming one of these patterns does not cancel what is genuine within you. Correction may be the hand that keeps your gift from becoming destructive. This is not the breaking of your calling. It is the breaking of the seal pride placed around it. Stay humble, stay honest, stay teachable. Now that what corrupts a gift has been exposed, the next movement is not more diagnosis. It is construction, the patient work of making what you carry safe, credible, and genuinely useful. Potential is not the same as trustworthiness. You may feel something strongly, perceive what others overlook, or carry an ability that has remained hidden for years. But intensity is not maturity. A gift becomes trustworthy when it has been formed into reliable service. There are 4 foundations beneath that formation. The first foundation is character. Character is what keeps influence from becoming dangerous. It is honesty when exaggeration would make your story more impressive. It is patience when you want immediate recognition. It is self-control when emotion urges you to speak before you understand. It is compassion when another person's weakness inconveniences you. And it is the humility to say, "I was wrong," without pretending the admission destroys your identity. If your gift grows while your character remains neglected, the gift may open doors that you are not yet prepared to enter. Do not ask only whether you can carry influence. Ask whether people will be safe when you do. The second foundation is community. Trusted relationships are not barriers between you and divine guidance. They are mirrors that reveal what solitary certainty can conceal. They help test motives, question interpretations, and identify blind spots you cannot see from inside your own experience. Choose people who are honest without being cruel, wise without being controlling, and loving without becoming impressed by every claim you make. If no one is permitted to challenge you, you do not have community. You have an audience. The third foundation is discipline. A hidden gift does not become dependable through announcement. It becomes dependable through practice. Study what you claim to carry. Prepare when no one is watching. Listen more closely than you speak. Complete small assignments before demanding larger ones. Keep your promises. Return to the work when the excitement has faded. Do not wait for effortless activation. Inspiration may begin the process, but discipline gives it structure. The musician must practice. The teacher must study. The leader must learn to listen. The compassionate person must develop boundaries. The insightful person must learn the difference between observing a pattern and inventing a conclusion. The fourth foundation is accountability. The greater the consequence of a claim, the greater the responsibility to test it. If your words could influence another person's money, relationship, health, safety, or major decision, they must be able to withstand questions. Do not use spiritual certainty to pressure someone into compliance. Do not turn urgency into a weapon. Do not imply that questioning you is the same as disobeying God. A strong impression can be expressed humbly. This is what I sense, but I may be mistaken. That sentence does not weaken truth. It protects another person from carrying the cost of your untested certainty. Patience is part of that protection. Mature discernment observes patterns. It gathers clarity. It creates space for hidden information to surface. It does not force trust with countdowns, threats, or claims that an opportunity will disappear unless someone responds immediately. What is trustworthy does not need manipulation to survive examination. Now take what you believe you carry through 6 practical steps. First, name the ability plainly, without making it sound supernatural merely to make it important. Perhaps you listen carefully, recognize patterns, communicate clearly, create beauty, organize people, solve problems, or bring steadiness into difficult rooms. Second, practice it where the risk is low and the feedback can be honest. Third, invite trustworthy people to tell you what helped, what confused them, and what needs development. Fourth, measure the fruit. Are people becoming clearer, safer, stronger, and more capable, or more frightened, dependent, and impressed? Fifth, repair harm quickly. Apologize without defending your intention. Correct false claims. Restore what your carelessness damaged wherever possible. Sixth, remain teachable. Do not treat one successful moment as proof that every future impression must be right. And remember your boundaries. Service does not mean rescuing everyone. Compassion does not require emotional exhaustion. Responsibility does not mean controlling outcomes that belong to other people. You may offer wisdom without taking over. You may care deeply without becoming indispensable. You may step back without abandoning your calling. Hear this reassurance. Correction will not destroy what is real within you. Testing will not extinguish a genuine flame. Discipline will not bury the gift. These things remove what cannot safely travel into the next season. Character, community, discipline, accountability. Let these 4 foundations carry what emotion alone never could. And when a gift becomes trustworthy, the meaning of blessing changes. Blessing is no longer a trophy, proving that you are important. It becomes an increased capacity to contribute. Blessing is not merely what gathers around you. It is also what can move through you without being corrupted by pride. You may receive opportunity, provision, influence, insight, or recognition, but none of these things proves that you are more valuable than the person who is still waiting. A larger platform is not a higher spiritual rank. Wealth is not evidence that heaven prefers you. Admiration is not confirmation that every decision you make is right, and the humiliation of former doubters is not the purpose of your success. Now hear me clearly. If your blessing must make someone else feel small before it makes you feel secure, it has become a trophy in the hands of an unhealed heart. You have imagined the dramatic reveal. The room grows silent. The people who dismissed you finally recognize what they missed. Those who walked away return with regret. The ones who questioned you watch as doors open, resources arrive, and your name is lifted. But what if the most sacred evidence of blessing is quieter than that? It is listening to someone's pain without exploiting their vulnerability to display your insight. It is speaking truth without using truth to dominate. It is sharing knowledge without making others dependent on you. It is keeping a promise when breaking it would be convenient. It is creating work that solves a real problem. It is stepping aside long enough for another person's gift to breathe. Do not despise small beginnings. Service does not require spectacle to become real. A conversation can restore courage. A thoughtful decision can protect a family. A dependable act can rebuild trust. A patient explanation can bring clarity to someone trapped in confusion. The room may never applaud, but something meaningful has still moved through you. That is capacity. If you are sensitive, let sensitivity make you a better listener. Do not use it as permission to announce hidden motives you cannot prove. You may notice a shift in someone's voice or behavior, but humility asks before certainty accuses. Sensitivity becomes trustworthy when it creates care, not fear. If you are called to lead, let leadership create safety and clarity. Do not confuse leadership with becoming unquestionable. A mature leader does not need everyone to agree, but does make room for truth, feedback, and the dignity of those affected by each decision. Authority is not freedom from accountability. It is responsibility under greater accountability. If provision comes, steward it. Stabilize what has been neglected. Meet obligations. Give wisely. Prepare for the future. Help without controlling. Money is a tool, not a trophy. Your increase does not prove that people facing scarcity have less faith or favor. It means you now carry greater responsibility for what passes through your hands. Release the need for revenge-based success. You do not need former doubters watching from the doorway for your work to matter. You do not need an audience of regret. The goal is not to make those who overlooked you feel ashamed. The goal is to ensure that the people you are equipped to help are genuinely helped. Let your blessing become shelter, not a spotlight. Let your insight become clarity, not mystery designed to impress. Let your influence open doors for others, not merely raise your own name. Here is the realization that changes everything. You are not chosen instead of others. You are entrusted for the sake of others. And if that statement is true, then calling must be measurable in daily life, not by attention, not by intensity, not by claims of rarity, by 5 marks that reveal whether what you carry is becoming mature. Now place these 5 marks before your heart as a mirror, not a ladder. Do not use them to rank yourself above another person. Use them to examine whether your calling is becoming trustworthy. The first mark is faithfulness. Do you keep ordinary commitments when no one is watching? Do you arrive, prepare, finish, and follow through when there is no applause or immediate reward? Anyone can feel powerful during a moment of inspiration. Faithfulness is revealed after the feeling fades. It is built through promises kept, duties completed, and small acts of integrity repeated in hidden places. The second mark is love. Is your growing confidence making you more patient, more truthful, more compassionate, and more attentive to the dignity of others? Or are you becoming harsher because you believe your insight gives you permission to speak without care? Love is not avoiding difficult truth. It is delivering truth without treating another person as disposable. The third mark is teachability. Can you receive correction without collapsing into shame or retaliating with accusations? Can you hear, "This caused harm," without immediately answering, "You are jealous," or "You cannot understand my calling"? Teachability does not require agreement with every opinion. It requires enough humility to examine what may be true before pride builds a defense. The fourth mark is service. Who is becoming safer because of what you carry? Who is becoming stronger, clearer, wiser, or more capable? A mature gift does not merely attract attention to its possessor. It leaves evidence of help in the lives of others. It does not create dependence to preserve its importance. It equips people to stand. The fifth mark is stewardship. How do you handle your time, energy, money, influence, and the sensitive things people tell you? Do you act with restraint? Do you protect confidence? Do you know when to give, when to rest, when to speak, and when to seek counsel? Blessing without stewardship becomes waste. Influence without stewardship becomes harm. Now bring these 5 marks into your actual life. Think about a recent conflict. Did love and teachability guide your response, or did pride demand that you win? Think about the ambition you rarely admit aloud. Is it being shaped by service or by the desire to be seen? Think about a decision in which your words could influence someone else. Have you handled that influence carefully? Think about the opportunity you believe carries spiritual significance. Are you approaching it with faithfulness and stewardship, or using spiritual language to excuse haste? Do not make a dramatic declaration and then return unchanged to the same habits. Choose one weak mark. 1. Practice it deliberately. Keep one neglected promise. Listen without defending yourself. Apologize for one harm. Serve one person without announcing it. Create one boundary that protects what has been entrusted to you. If this is the commitment of your heart, you may write, "Make me faithful," not as a payment for blessing, not as an activation code, not as a condition for receiving God's care. Let it simply name the person you are choosing to become. Faithful when hidden, loving when challenged, teachable when corrected, useful when trusted, humble when blessed. These are the marks of mature calling. And now the final movement must release you from the need to appear extraordinary and commission you to become trustworthy. Return now to the question that began this message. What if the clearest sign that you are chosen is not that everyone recognizes your greatness, but that you can carry responsibility without making yourself the center? You are released from performing for those who doubted you. You do not need to collect enemies to prove you are powerful. You do not need to predict a public reversal or treat applause as confirmation. Let truth confirm what is true. Let service reveal what is useful. Let character speak before your claims do. Your visibility may remain ordinary while your faithfulness carries lasting consequence. A promise kept, a wound handled gently, a skill developed patiently, or a person served quietly can matter beyond what you will ever see. Hear this commission. Protect what has been entrusted to you. Guard it with humility. Develop it through discipline. Test it in truth. Carry it within community. Release it through love. Do not use your gift to stand above people. Use it to stand beside them. Let us pray. God, purify my motives. Give me courage to receive correction without defensiveness, wisdom to use every gift without causing harm, and strength to serve without resentment. Keep me honest when recognition tempts me, humble when influence increases, and faithful when no one is watching. Make my life a place where truth brings clarity, love protects dignity, and blessing becomes service. Amen. Now seal this within your heart. Chosen does not mean untouchable, superior, or entitled. It means entrusted, accountable, and available. Take the next responsible step. Serve the person already within reach. Practice what needs development. Repair what needs healing. Keep the commitment. No one applauds. And carry this question into the stillness, not, how important am I? But, what has been entrusted to me, and whom can it serve?